Polyvis is a portfolio visualization tool that allows decision makers and stakeholders to interactively view the performance of different portfolios in different metrics. Portfolios, in this case, are combinations of supply options like reservoirs, desalination, reuse, and policy decisions such as the choice of different levels of environmental ambition. Polyvis is accessed via web address with any modern web browser. When you go to the web address, such as the one in the address bar and the screen here, you get to a screen that a window that appears like this. The parallel plot will be shown in the central area here. The metrics menu contains a drop-down of all of the metrics that can be visualized in the parallel plot. Let's select two of these to show an example. First, we'll select agricultural supply and agricultural deficit. The two metrics can be seen on the two vertical axes on the plot, with agricultural supply on the left and agricultural deficit on the right. Better performance in all metrics can be seen towards the top end of the vertical axes, and the worst performance at the bottom. So high agricultural supply can be seen on the top, and low agricultural deficit can be seen at the top. Worst deficit, so higher deficit at the bottom, and lower supply is at the bottom of the agricultural supply axis. The blue lines represent the portfolios of future options and policies. Then where each blue line crosses a vertical axis represents the performance of that portfolio in that metric. For example, this portfolio highlighted here has high agricultural supply as it's towards near the top of the axis, but it has a high deficit as well. As you can see, it's at the lower part of the axis. An ideal portfolio with the best performance in all metrics would be a horizontal blue line at the top of all axes. This is not possible, and sometimes trade-offs are seen. For example, trade-offs can be seen when the blue lines form diagonals with each other, when they cross each other. So in general, for the agricultural sector, high agricultural supplies, which imply high demands, end up having higher deficits because a higher demand is trying to be met. Performance axes can be filtered. So, for example, if we want to show portfolios that have only high agricultural supply, we can filter for only those to be seen. To undo a filter, just click somewhere else on the metric axis. Let's add another metric now. Let's add the total cost of each portfolio. Now you can see total cost has been added as a vertical axis. Trade-offs can be seen only between adjacent metrics. For example, we can see a trade-off between agricultural supply, agricultural deficit, and if there's one between agricultural deficit and total cost. But if we want to see if there's any trade-offs between total cost and agricultural supply, we can simply move the axes around. Color can also be added to the plot under the colors drop-down. So here, for example, we can add another metric represented by color. So let's add the fraction of years that went into temporary use bans on the color axis. So now the blue lines have turned into colors ranging from green to red. The red portfolios had 5% of years that went into temporary use bans, whereas the green ones, only 1% of years went into temporary use bans. Pop-up bubbles can appear to give a bit more detail on what the metrics are, what the metrics imply, and also their units. So when you hover over the question mark in your metric name, you get the metric name again, the units, and a short description of the metric. The next button over shows whether lower numbers or higher numbers are better in that metric. The options that are included in a portfolio can be visualized on the map. To do this, simply click on a portfolio. and a new browser tab appears. This tab has 3 tabs located on it. You have the option details, metric details, and view on map feature. The option details lists all of the options that are activated in the portfolio. These are categorized by type and can be sorted by type, and also the implement's capacity is shown, and also links to an environmental assessment URL are shown here. You can click on this URL to view the environmental assessment of an option. This will open in a new browser window. The metric detail tab details the values of all the metrics of the that quantified in the portfolio. And finally, the view on tab feature allows you to view the options located in their geographic locations, approximate geographic locations, as well as the transfers that are built in the portfolio to transfer water around the region.